Hello everybody. So this is session number 3 in our module for ratio proportion. Fine. So before I start, just type a quick yes in your chat window. I'll know I'm audible and I'll then start the session. Please type a yes in your chat window and I'll start the session. Okay, I'm audible. Wonderful. Wonderful. I think I'm audible to all of you. Okay, great. Great, wonderful. You can stop this. Fine. So the first things first. Anybody who has not seen the last 2 sessions of arithmetic, that's ratio proportion, alligation, might be at loss today completely, because I'll be continuing from there. Fine. Most of the things I've already taught, so it's just some complications, some variations in the questions, some other things, some basic stuff, right? So if you have not seen them, you want to sit here, you can. If you have not seen them, you're not confident, probably go back to them and then you can probably come back and watch this later, right? So I'll start now. I'll start with this puzzle that I gave you last time. Fine, you remember this puzzle? I got quite a few answers as well to this one, but I'll start with this one very quickly. इसमें क्या करना था क्या नहीं करना था, I'll just explain to you very quickly and then we'll move to the agenda for today. So this is also related to ratios only. Actually this is something, in fact I'll write it down so that you remember it, and somebody ever says you understand what inverse relation is, then you should remember this. This is inverse relation. This is an example of inverse relation. The reason I told you last time as well, it's inverse relation because one thing increases, the other thing goes down, fine, but not proportionally. Had it gone down proportionally, it would have been inverse proportionality. This is inverse relation. Fine, I explained to you last time. Now there are at least a couple of ways in which you can solve it. Fine, one is making equations. Probably there is something you can do with inverse relation formula as well. You can do that, but I'll not want to do it like that. I'll definitely not want to do it like that. We'll do it in a very simple way that we understand. Fine, and almost mentally. I'm writing it down so that you can understand the flow here. Let's assume for a moment that each cow grazes when each cow eats 1 unit of grass per day. Let's just assume this. You do not need to write this. I'm just writing this down for you. 1 unit of grass per day. Fine, just assume this. Fine, so each cow eats 1 unit of grass per day. Look at the first scenario. How much is this? This is 100 cows and they graze for 15 days and this whole thing is over. So this is, they must have eaten 1500 units of grass, right? Look at the second scenario. It's 60 cows and they graze for 30 days. So this is 1800. Fine. So if this is 1500, this is 1800, can I say that an additional 300 units of grass that is there, that these cows have eaten in the next 15 days, fine, from this 15 to this 15, is that grass that must have grown in the 15 days? Isn't it common sense? It's common sense. This was 1500 units of grass, everything is finished. This is 1800 of units of grass, then everything is finished. So this deficit or this additional 300 that's there, what is this? This is that grass that must have grown in these 15 days. So can I say grass grows at this rate, 15 days and 300 units of grass? कुछ और हो ही नहीं सकता ना, that's the only possibility. So इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब हुआ that one day would be 20 units of grass. बस, if you understand this, everything is done. कुछ और करना ही नहीं है इसके अंदर. Just now let's pick any of the scenarios. Let's pick this scenario number 1 now. Fine. In this, look at what had happened. There were 100 cows. They took 15 days to eat up 1500 units. Fine. Cow, we already know how much it eats. I mean, at what rate? It eats 1 unit of grass per day. Fine. So, can we say that in these 15 days, in this 15 days, fine, the additional grass that must have come into the field would be 15 into 20? इतना ही होगा ना? This would be 300. Fine. What is this? We already calculated that in this field grass grows at this rate, that every day 20 units of grass grows. Fine. So in this first 15 days, how much grass would have grown? It would be 15 into 20. 20 is the rate, this 20. So that's 300 units. So can I say that when they started grazing, the total amount of grass here would be 1500 minus 300 is equal to 1200 units? Is it okay with everybody? This has to be, इसमें कुछ है ही नहीं. This is very simple. When they started, it should be 1200 units of grass, because in these 15 days 300 units of additional grass has come and the total becomes 1500. बस अब कुछ करना ही नहीं है. अब आप देखिए आपको क्या बताना है. It says how many cows are needed to do it in 10 days. Fine. 10 days का मतलब क्या हुआ? Now do it like this. 10 days में कितना additional आएगा? How much additional grass would grow in 10 days? So that would be 10 into 20, that's 200. So if I have to finish it up, not I have to, cows have to finish it up, then it has to be 200 units of additional grass that would grow in these 10 days. So that 200 plus how much is there existing, that's 1200, this 1200, so that's 1200. So how many units of grass would be there? Can I say it would be 1400 units in all? If it's 1400 units that needs to be finished by some number of cows, how many cows need to be there? 1400 by 10. Why 10? Because they need to take 10 days. So basically the scenario would be like this: 140 cows into 10 days. So 140 into 10 becomes 1400. So the total units that they would eat would be 1400 units. Fine. So the answer to this would be 140. Now I have explained it in great detail. You do not need to do all this while you are doing a question. Fine. I am erasing this, just showing to you how you will think. Fine. You will look at this 115 when you get 1500. You will look at this 60 and 13, you will get 1800. You realize quickly that the difference is 300. This difference is for 15 days. It means that for one day the growth of grass would be 20 units. Fine. Now take any of the scenarios. Take the first scenario. Fine. In the first scenario, the grass that must have grown in these 15 days would be 15 into 20, that's 300. Fine. It means that the existing grass would be 1500 minus 300, which becomes 1200. Now you can do this very quickly because you need to finish this up into 10 days now. So 10 into 20 would be added to 1200. So it gives you 1400. 1400 divided by 10, the answer becomes 140. I hope nobody would have a problem in this. This is very simple arithmetic. In fact, there is absolutely nothing to be scared of this question. You do not need to make equations. That's the important part. Another thing that I wanted to ask you in this question is, इसका एक variation और पूछा जा सकता है. They can ask you a variation of this. Fine, I'm just erasing this. Okay, that's not required. Just listen to me. If I ask you a question like, how many cows can graze on this field infinitely or indefinitely, what would the answer be? Just give me a very quick answer. Just type it in the chat window. If there is a number of cows that can graze infinitely on this field, on this pasture, what is that maximum possible number? What is the maximum possible number of cows that can graze here indefinitely? What's the answer for this? How many cows can graze? Okay, I'll just write this till infinity. Okay, Pankaj I think gave the first correct answer. That has to be 20. Isn't it simple? What was the growth? What was the rate of growth? One day it was 20 units, no? What was our assumption when we started? That each cow eats 1 unit per day. So if 20 units of new grass comes here on this field every day, it means that it can afford to feed 20 cows indefinitely. I mean, it will continue forever. So if the question is how many cows can eat here till infinity, it has to be 20 cows, unless there is a climatic change or something, or the circumstances or the conditions of this thing changes. सूखा पड़ जाता है, हो जाता है, वो जाता है. 20 cows can eat here, keep grazing here indefinitely. Fine. So that's the answer to this one. जिसको अभी भी कुछ issue है, इसको एक बार दोबारा देखिएगा. I have explained every step in writing. Fine. Now I am moving forward to this next question. This is again a question that was, I think, there in just a moment. Yeah, I think it was asked by somebody somewhere, and I picked this up. So solve this first. I'm giving you a minute now. Fine. Solve this first, then I'll explain how I did it, and then you can probably compare your approach. What you did in this. Gaurav, if you are first, I'm sorry. I don't know. I saw Pankaj first. That's why I took his name. विकास पूछ रहे हैं कि ऐसे क्वेश्चन आते भी हैं. विकास कुछ भी आ सकता है. लास्ट टाइम जैसे SBI ने किया था उसके बाद कुछ भी आ सकता है. बट वाई शुड यू बी वरिड? I mean, this is easy. This is simple. If this is simple, then what is the issue? Naveen, Liz, this is cheating because you have seen this question before. So this was for people who haven't seen it. I'm sure most of you would not have seen it. Do this first. Give me the answer. What's the answer? Then I'm going to explain this. Adam was the first one. Okay. Adam, you had done it before, so no use. I was not asking you. Okay. For those who have not done it, please do it very quickly, then I'll explain it. Alright, so that's there in front of you. I think most of you have got the answer. The correct answer is 7:2 for this question. There are multiple ways in which this can be done. This can be done using alligation, using percentage, using fractional alligation, using weighted average. You can do it in so many ways. I'll tell you, I'll try explaining to you a way through which you can do it mentally without writing anything. Fine. Look at this now. What I'll do is, the moment I look at this ratio, fine, we have all, if you remember the last lecture, we just add this up all the time. The reason why we add this up is this gives us quantities. Look at this, milk and water, 5 plus 2 is 7. So it means that basically out of 7 units, 5 milk, 2 water, this is 8 plus 5, 13. So out of 13 units, 8 milk and 5 water, and this is also 13 in the mixture, which means that 9 milk and 4 water. Fine. So one way is that you use fractions and you do alligation and you get the answer. But can you do it in a slightly simpler way? Fine. If you have to do it in a slightly simpler way, you already know how to equate these ratios, how to make them appear in a form which is comfortable for us. Fine. This is how I would write it if I have to use alligation in this. Look at this number, this 2. Fine. If I have to equate it with this second one, I mean I have to bring it in a form in which I can work on this, I'll look at just this number, 2 into 13, which is 26. This multiplication, this is exactly the same way we were doing last time. Now look at this one, 7 into 5, this is 35. And since this is also 13 and you have to look at this LCM only, fine, this would also be multiplied by 13. So, 7. So that becomes 28. This is exactly what we are doing now. Look at what is happening here. This is given as 5:2. This is given as 8:5. This is given as 9:4. Last time we had learned how we can equate this. So for the sake of clarity for everyone, I'll just multiply this quickly and show you how it would look like. So for example, I multiply this first one with 7, this one with 13, this one with 13 and this one with 13. The ratios would look like this. 7 5s are, it is 35. This is 7 2s. Sorry, I have done it incorrect. Just a moment. Alright, I have to do it in the reverse manner. 13 into 5 is 65. 13 into 2, this 2 here would be 26. 7 into 8 is 56. 7 into 5 is 35. 7 into 9 would be 63, and 7 into 4 would be 28. Fine. What I have done is I have multiplied this 7 here, 13 here, and this 13 here. you all of you know the reason. The reason we do it is because this sum would become the same then, 65 plus 26, 56, 35, 63, 18, and that's why we do it like this. Fine. So if you add this up, this sum would be the same, 65, 26, this sum, and this sum. Fine. Now the important thing here that you need to realize is, fine, I think two people, Shekhar and Abhas, got it right in the end, and they did it without pen and paper. My only problem with them was that they were doing it through these values. They did not realize that if you have to look at this milk and water, in all the three numbers, the quantity of water, look here, 2, this is 5, and this is 4, this is smaller as compared to the quantity of milk. Fine. So when you are optimizing a particular solution, what you have to do is that you have to work with a smaller number. So when I have to work at these numbers, I will not look at 65, 56 and 33. Fine. This will also give me the same answer. The problem, the way I would do would be that I will use 26, 35 and 28. Fine. These are smaller numbers and easier to remember. Now what is happening is, if you look at this question, 26 units and 35 units are mixed. Now this is that same concept of alligation that we did last time. They are mixed and they are giving you this thing. The resultant is 28. In what ratio should they be mixed so that you get this composition? Fine. You know what this difference is? This difference here is 7 and this difference here is 2. So 7 should be allocated to whom and 2 should be allocated to whom? So 7 here goes to this one, 26 wala, and this 2 here goes to this one. Now you know what this is. So the ratio here becomes 7:2 in this case. Fine. What is happening here is that if you remember what I told you last time is that I asked you to work with percentage. When I looked at numbers like 5, 2, 8, 5, 9, 4, these are not comfortable percentages. Fine. If had these numbers been like 4:1, 3:2, I would still have preferred to work with percentages. So when these are ratios like 5:2, 8:5, you know you'll have to work with a number like 5/7 or 2/7, which is not very comfortable to work with. So you work with those numbers that give you comfort. So for me, this 26, 28 and 35 are very very comfortable numbers. इसमें अगर किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन है तो मेरे से अभी पूछो, because all what we do after this in this lecture would be based on this only. Fine. Gayatri, have you seen the previous lecture? आपने देखा है कि नहीं देखा? Just give me a quick yes. I'll explain accordingly. If anybody else also has a problem in this, please ask me now. You will not understand anything going further. किसी को कोई डाउट है कि मैंने 7 से 13 वगैरह से यहाँ पर मल्टीप्लाई क्यों किया है? Yes, to make quantities equal. Rachita, yes, that's LCM. In this case, the LCM is same as the product, so कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है because 7, 13 co-prime है. Kundan, were you there in the last class? Aman, I am coming to ifs and buts here. Please do not ask in this question. I will come to everything. You know I explain in detail. Just tell me, anybody who was there in the last class, do you have a problem here as well still? Okay, I am explaining this once more, one last time. Okay, look at what it is. Five is to 2, this is solution 1, this is solution 2, which is given as 8:5, and this is the mixture. This is given to you as 9:4. How many units are these? If I add them directly, this is 5 plus 2, 7 units, this is 8 plus 5, 13 units, and this is 9 plus 4, 13 units. The first thing when I work on alligation is that I have to bring them into quantities that are equal. When I work on alligation in terms of percentages, everything is out of 100%. Fine. So this is 7 units, out of which 5 are milk and 2 are water. This is 13, out of which 8 are milk and 5 are water, and this is 13, out of which 9 are milk and 4 are water. The first thing that I need to do is that I need to make these quantities equal. Fine. How do I make them equal? I make them equal if I multiply this with 7, this with 7 and this with 13. सोच के देखो तभी बराबर होगा ना. If I multiply 5 and 2 with 13, तभी वो उस proportion में बराबर होगा ना. ये तो हमने last lecture में किया हुआ है already. तो अगर मेरे को इसको multiply करना है, the resultant that I would get would be this thing. I multiply this with 13, 13 into 5, 65, 13 into 2, 26, 7 into 8, 56, 7 into 5, 35, 7 into 9, 63, 7 into 4, 28. These are the numbers. Now if you look at these numbers, what has happened when I multiplied this is that 65 plus 26, 56 plus 35 and 63 plus 28, they are all equal. Have you realized this? They are all equal. This sum and this sum, and that's why I manipulated in this manner. Is it okay? I'm 100% sure that all the people who are asking questions here are those who did not attend last lecture. I'm still repeating anyway. Fine. So these are the ratios. So you are not bothered with this sum. This is just to explain to you. Fine. Just remove this now, this plus, and this becomes your new ratio then. I'll work with this ratio. Now what I'm explaining is, fine, since the quantities are same, now you look at water here. What is happening? So basically you are mixing 26 units of water with 35 units of water to arrive at 28 units of water. This is what is happening, exactly this same thing. So 26 here and this is 35. Now this is again what we did last time. This balances at this number 28. ऐसे ही हो रहा है exactly. 26 mixed with 35 balances at this 28. Fine. So to arrive at this 28, what do you do? 35 minus 28 gives you 7. 28 minus 26 gives you 2. This 7 goes where? Where the tilt is. Where is the tilt here? Towards 26. So this thing 7 is allocated to this 26 value. What is this value? This first one. Fine. So this becomes 7 and this 2 here is allocated to this 35. Fine, which is the second value. So this becomes 2. So your answer becomes 7:2 in this case. Fine. Now the important part here to understand is you do not need to do all this while you are solving it. I told you that this can be done mentally. How do you do it mentally? Fine. Look at this value. This sum is 7. This sum is 13. And this sum is 13. You realize this very quickly. 7, 7, 13. So if you have to equate, basically this 7 wala would be multiplied with 13 and the rest 2 would be multiplied with 7. Now comes the actual thing that I was trying to tell you before you interrupted me. Fine. I will not work on milk here, these numbers. No. Why I would not work on milk is because these are bigger numbers in the 3 ratios. 5:2, 8:5, 9:4. You need to optimize every step of it. So when you work on these numbers, this 2, this 5 and this 4, it can be done mentally very quickly. How do you do it now? Fine. 2 multiplied by 13, how much is this number? 26. Fine. Come to the second one. 5 multiplied with 7, yes, it gives you 35. That's your second number. Fine. And then what is this third number? 4. 4 multiplied with 7, this 4 multiplied with 7 gives you 28. So this 28 you get by mixing 26 and 35. Now use alligation. What do you use? This difference is 7. This difference is 2. So this 7 goes towards this side here and this 2 goes towards this side here, and the answer becomes 7:2. Now you realize this. If you realize this, you could have done it mentally. How? By just doing this 26, 28, 35. Not 56 and 63, all those values, just 26, 28, 35. This becomes further easier and the answer becomes 7:2 in this case. I hope you got this, all of you. I explained this again because this is extremely important. If you want to do it mentally, you need to understand this. Now I am moving forward. I am giving you the next question. Try applying the same thing in that and give me the answer quickly. This is again the same data that was posted by somebody on the group. I changed the question, picked up the same numbers so that you realize this. Please do it now. All right, most of you are saying 13 is to 8. I am very happy you got the correct answer. Now the important part is how do you do it quickly. I have again drawn this table here to make you understand. I hope this table would not create a problem to anybody. This is solution 1, this is solution 2, and that's the mixture. The ratios are there in front of you: 722, 2137, 2562, all that is given in the table. The first step that we do, we add, and we add very quickly. 722, 29, 58, 87. Fine, you get this part. You quickly realize that 29 into 2 is 58 and 29 into 3 is 87. So these are not random numbers here. Fine. You can take their LCM very quickly. LCM would be double of 87. All of you understand that. Fine. So basically what I'll need to multiply this with would be these numbers. I'll multiply this with 6. I'll multiply this with 3 and I'll multiply this with 2. Why? If we do this, this thing multiplied with 6 gives me 174. In fact, everything would give me 174 here. All of you realize what this is going to result in. Now in this case, since I am doing a second problem here in this case, I will not show you the completed ratios by rewriting them. Please understand that I have to work on one of the quantities, either milk or water. I'll just work on milk here. If I work on milk, this 7 into 6, since I have to multiply all this here again, 7 into 6 would change into 42. Fine. 21 into 3, which 3? This 3. 1 into 3 gives me 63, and look at this, this is into 2, so 25 into 2 gives me 50. Now these are your numbers. क्या बनेगा बताओ? I am making this bar separately. So this is basically 42, 50, 63. कुछ करना है क्या इसके अंदर? 42, 50, 63. These are the numbers of milk. Fine. So once you realize these are numbers, what is the difference here? 8. Where does this 8 get allocated? Here. Fine. What is this difference? 63 minus 50? 13. Where does this 13 get allocated? Here. So the answer becomes 13 is to 8. How much time? Again, just 10-15 seconds. If you realize what is happening, you do not need to make this table. This table that I have done, you don't have to make it. Fine. I am explaining it again without the table. Just look at this. This number is 29. Fine. This sum is 58. This sum is 87. Fine. You realize that their LCM is 174. Fine. You just pick this 7 here. 7 into 6. 42, that's your first number here. Fine. 25 into 2, because 87 into 2 gives you 74, so 25 into 2 gives you 50. Look at this 21. 21 into 3 gives you 63. So these are the three numbers that you write if you write at all. You do not need to write anything else. This difference 8, this difference 13. Fine. So 13 gets allocated here and 8 gets allocated here. Why? Because of that bias thing. This 50 is tilted towards 42. So the bigger number would go towards 42. So the answer would be 13 is to 8. Practice this, you will get it mentally. You would not need to realize, do anything here. Absolutely not. Fine. Okay. I'm moving to the next one now. Do this. Alright, another thing is there is absolutely no way, one way of doing a question. You can do it in multiple ways. I am just giving you ways to think. If there is a way in which you can optimize it further, because I do not think about all the ways while doing a particular question, you can do it. I mean, I do not have any issue. I'll be happy. If you can think of a better way, please do it. Pranav, LCM की 174 की जरूरत ही नहीं थी. Once you realize that 29 into 2 is 58 and 29 into 3 is 87, you calculate the LCM of 2 and 3 and not of those big numbers. Please realize that this is basic number system. Do this one. This is again some data picked from one of the discussions there. Please try answering, all of you, and then move forward. Please pardon me if I'm a little slow because everything is based on this. I want to explain it to everybody. Fine. Please take it 1 more minute and solve it. Okay, I think we can do this now. This is, now look at how do you do this, how do you proceed in this. This is a simple one, again multiple ways you can do it, but just realize this part very quickly. It says the ratio of land and water is 1:2. This ratio is 2:3 in the northern hemisphere. So there are two parts, obviously equal parts. What is it in the southern hemisphere? What you need to realize here is that they are equal. What is happening here is that, can we say that looking at this ratio, land would be 1/3 of the total? यही हो रहा है ना. If land and water is 1:2, land would be 1/3 of the total. Now if you get a number like this and it's 1/3, and I just want to work on the units, fine. If I just want to work on the units, what I'll try doing is that I'll try taking units in a way that this 1/3 becomes very comfortable for me. How do I do this? Look at this whole thing. This is 1:2, which is, can I say 1:2 is total of 3 units. So I'll just manipulate these units now. Fine. So since this is talking about 1 unit of land for every 3 units in all, fine, 1/3. And if you look at this number, this whole thing, can I say this 2 plus 3, okay, this 2 plus 3, 5, this 5 here would be same for northern hemisphere as well as southern hemisphere, क्योंकि वो तो बराबर ही है ना एरिया उनका. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? If I have to assume just in the form of units, I will take a number that is very comfortable for me. Now for example, if you have to just, let's say, work on these numbers, I'll take a number like what? 10, 20, 30. Why? Because I can see here that it will give me a scope to work on these very easily. Now if I am saying that I do this 10, 20, which gives a sum of 30, 15 would go into the northern hemisphere and 15 would go into the southern hemisphere. ऐसे होने चाहिए ना, और कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. It cannot be anything else. Now look at these. This 2:3 in that case, which gives you 5, would be multiplied with 3 because it has to appear in this form of 15. Fine. So if you multiply it with 3, it becomes 6, and what would it be? 9, and this gives you 15. So what is happening is that when I manipulated this ratio, fine, the sum became 15, this 15, fine, and out of this 15, this 6 becomes land, fine, and this 9 becomes water. Fine. Is it the same thing? Just please realize that this is the same thing. This ratio is 2:3. Fine. 2 parts is land and 3 parts is water. So if it's 15 and not 5, this would become 6 parts land and 9 parts water. What has happened in the process is that if I look at it like this, I realize that this total was 10, 20, 30. Here 10, 20, 30. Fine. You realize here that this deficit would all be covered by the southern hemisphere. Now look at this difference. This 10 minus 6 is what? This is 4. This 20 minus 9 is what? This is 11. So you get it mentally. The important part here is that you need to realize that you have to manipulate the units in a way in which you do not have to deal with decimals here. Fine. For example, if I am just erasing this, fine. When I look at this, I realize that this is talking about 1/3. Fine. So when it's talking about 1/3, I have to take a unit like that. I take numbers like this 10, 20, they add up to 30. Fine. If this is 30, so this is northern hemisphere and this is southern hemisphere. I do this mentally only. So this would be 15 units and this would be 15 units, and this should give me some numbers in which I do not have to deal with decimals. Fine. So this 15, when it comes to this ratio here would be divided like 6:9. If this is 6 to 9, the total is 10, 20. Now look at this difference. 10 minus 6 is 4. 20 minus 9, here it's 11. So the answer becomes 4 is to 11. So that's your answer to this question. You do this mentally if you realize how to manipulate the units here. Fine. I am giving you the next one now. That's your next question. Give me the answer first. All right, wonderful. So many if you're saying 11 liters is the answer to this one, and this is again very similar. So this is for all those people who were saying अगर ये numbers सारे अलग होंगे तो क्या होगा. अब देखो इस case में it's all different. This is 11, this first one, this is 6, this is 5. But the way we calculate LCM would not be different. That remains the same always. All of you understand that. What would happen in this case? On which one would we work? Fine, not on milk, not on this one, but on water. Why? Because these numbers are smaller to deal with. This 3, this 1 and this 1. Fine. When we deal with this, what do I do? पहले को मल्टीप्लाई करना है, किससे करूंगा? फाइन, 11 तो यहाँ पर है, आई जस्ट मल्टीप्लाई इट विद 6 एंड 5. इसको मल्टीप्लाई करना है, किससे मल्टीप्लाई करूंगा? 6 तो यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी है विद 11 एंड 5. फाइन, एंड द थर्ड वन किससे मल्टीप्लाई करूंगा? आई मल्टीप्लाई विद 11 एंड 6, एंड दैट इज इट. दिस इज इट. हो गया क्वेश्चन. 3 इंटू 6 इंटू 5, दिस इज 90. फाइन, 1 इंटू 11 इंटू 5, दैट्स 55, एंड 1 इंटू 11 इंटू 6, 66. What is this difference? This difference is 11, and this difference is how much? This is 24, 34. This is 24. Fine. So the ratio would be 24 is to 11. Now you know that this number is also given to you in 35 liters. तो आपको सीधे से पता है आंसर क्या होगा. The answer in this case becomes 11 liters. Fine. Please realize that the numbers that they put here are not random numbers. So this is no coincidence that this ratio came to 24 is to 11 and not something like 27 is to 8. Fine. This 35 liters was also given to you on purpose, so that when you arrive at this answer of 2411, you can calculate 11 liters directly. Again, so that's not the point here. The important part is that you should realize that when you look at it, you just think like this. You just think like this. Fine. यहाँ पर आपने 11 देखा, you work on 3. इस 3 को आप किससे मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे? The 3 numbers. I am telling you how to arrive at it by writing minimum possible. You look at this 3, you realize that this sum is 6 and this sum is 5. Fine. So 3 into 6 into 5, that's one number you write. Just this. Fine. Then you look at this 1. इसमें किसको मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे? इसमें this needs to be multiplied with 11 into 5. That's the second number you write. And now come to this one. What do you write? 8 plus 3, 11. So 1 into 11 into 6. just this. Fine. So to solve this question, you just need to write this part that I have written here. That too, because you need to you need to be 100% sure that you do not do a silly mistake while calculation. You arrive at these numbers. These numbers are 90, 66, 55, and they give you the straight away the answer as 11 liters. Just this and nothing else. कुछ भी नहीं करना है. And look at these numbers. They are all different. Fine. So somebody was asking अगर ये percentage में नहीं आएगा तो क्या होगा? That's why I am teaching you alligation with numbers that are not easily expressible in percentages. Please realize this. These are all numbers that are used in ratios, not easily expressible in terms of percentages, but still alligation can be applied if you want to apply it. And why would you not want to apply it? This is working beautifully here. We are not doing any calculation, absolutely no calculations here, and you get the answer straight away. Fine. Go to the next one. This is actually very simple. अभी भी किसी को थोड़ा सा भी doubt है, take random numbers and practice this. This is the next question. Answer this now. This is again posted by, a similar question was posted by somebody. I thought I'll take this. This is simple. I do not think there will be a problem for anybody. But still give me the answer to this one. Kamlesh is asking 11 क्यों answer है 24 नहीं है. Kamlesh, I am 100% sure you haven't seen the last lecture. I am like 110% sure you haven't seen the last lecture. Please watch it first. 11 इसके लिए है क्योंकि उसका bias 24 वाले साइड था. ये मैंने उसको बहुत ही अच्छे से लास्ट लेक्चर में एक्सप्लेन किया है. आप उसको पहले देखिए और फिर इसमें वापस आइएगा. इसका आंसर दीजिए पहले. गिव मी द आंसर टू दिस वन. Krishan, you may want to rewind it and watch from the beginning. Guys, I'm coming back on screen for a moment. Please excuse me. Your question would be hidden here. Please realize that this is not a standalone lecture. It's a request. It's not a standalone lecture. It's a part in a series of lectures. Fine. So anybody who has not attended previous lectures, you might be at a complete loss. क्या हो रहा है? 11 क्यों है? 24 क्यों नहीं है वगैरह. If you have a doubt like why 11 and not 24, you need to watch the previous lecture. Please do it first and then watch this one. It's a sincere request. It'll save my time, your time, save you all the hassles and everything, and you will get it very fast. Please go back to the last two lectures, watch it first and then come back to this one. You will understand everything. I'm telling you. और कुछ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. Please do that. Now this is the question. Give me the answer to this one. Okay, so many 4:7:10. I do not know what the problem would then be in this. I'll just write it quickly. This is anybody else who wants to do it, please do it. We are discussing it in half a minute. Okay, just a hint for anybody who wants to get a clue on how to solve this first. We did a lot of sums like this. The only thing that you need to ensure is that if A is saving 1/5 of his income, you need to realize that his expenditure has to be 4/5 of his income. So can you express the ratio like that? Please listen to what I am saying. if A is saving 1/5 of his income, his spending would be 4/5 of his income. So can you express the ratio like that? That is the only thing that you need to do. You will get it very, very easily. The spending of A would be 4/5 of his income. Just express the ratio like that. Okay, I think most of you have got the answer. I'll just explain quickly how do we approach this. Fine. You need to arrive at this. Fine. A saves 1/5 of his income. That's the only important part here. It means that A spends 4/5 of his income. Do you realize this part? Now, if you realize this, then it's done. इसमें कुछ भी और करना ही नहीं है. Just look at these numbers. Fine. These numbers here. This is expenditure numbers and this is income numbers. You have to bring it into a form in which this ratio is satisfied. What ratio is that? That if A, I'm just talking about A here, that if income of A is 5, fine, his expenditure is 4. Fine, just bring it into this ratio. If you just follow this, rest all would fall into place. अब अगर आपको ये करना है, this is very simple. What do I do here? Can we do it directly? If I multiply just this income part with 5, fine, look at this, just this part with 5, and you know how to arrive at this actual numbers. What these numbers would become? This would become 20, fine, I'm multiplying everything, all the incomes with 5. So this would become 20, this would become 25, this thing, and this would become 30. Fine. Now, since this is 20, this has to be 16, so it becomes into 2, fine, and you know how to arrive at these numbers. We have done this in detail. This is again into 2, this is 18, and this is into 2, this is 20. So look at these numbers now. This is 20. So basically A is earning 20 and spending 16. Can I say he is saving 4, which is 1/5 of his income? Right? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That these numbers are falling in place. So this 25 is correct, this 30 is correct, this 18 is correct, 20 is correct, everything is correct here. So I can pick these actual numbers now and calculate the difference. So what are the differences now? So what is he asking? He says in what ratio do they save? So 20 minus 16, A saves 4, 25 minus 18, B saves 7, and this 30 minus 20, he saves 10. So the answer becomes 4:7:10. This becomes the answer in this question. Fine. इसमें confuse मत होना. You should not be confused in this. Do not go by this that ages में we took the difference while multiplying. In this I just took one number. I just looked at one number while multiplying. In the last lecture I was looking at the sum while multiplying. Just use your common sense and then multiply. I multiplied like this because I had to arrive at numbers like 20 and 16. Why? Because A was saving 1/5 of his income. 1/5 of his income का saving का मतलब हुआ उसका जो income and expenditure का ratio था. The ratio of his income and expenditure should be 5:4. So these are numbers that work for me. And once I express it in this form, which you very well know how to do it, I can simply calculate the answer. 25 minus 18, 7. 30 minus 20, 10. Answer is 4:7:10. That is it. This is it. The next one now. This is your next question. Answer this now. If somebody is still not getting how am I manipulating these numbers, please watch the last two tutorials. I have discussed it in detail, much detail. A lot of people are saying why 2. You are saying this, you are asking this because you did not understand the concept. The concept says that the ratios should be manipulated in a way in which satisfies my condition. The condition is that I am saving 1/5. If I am saving 1/5 and I have taken that as 20, it has to be 16. That's why I multiplied with 2. How did I know it has to be multiplied by 5 is something that you need to understand by going back to the previous lecture. Okay, 1/5 part, yes, 1/5 part is the answer. Let me write something. Rest of you meanwhile keep working on this. Okay, most of you are saying 1/5 or 20 liters, not 20 liters, I'll say 20% because liters is not given here. Now this is again some concept, please understand this. How do we get it directly without spending any energy into this one? Look at the scenario here. This is the current scenario, fine, this thing. Okay, let me just write it like this. This is, I'll call it second stage, this is third stage, and this is first stage. Okay, just look at what I am doing here. इसको ऐसे देख लेते हैं. The first stage is that it's a mixture of wine and water which is in the ratio of 5:3. Fine. So when it's 5:3, I do not bother what quantity this is. Fine. This thing, this quantity here, this is just 5:3. If I throw this some part of this mixture, I am throwing some part of this mixture. Does it affect the composition of this mixture? No, it would not. Fine. So what would happen after I throw this part? यहाँ पर मैंने first से second आने के लिए I throw some part of this. Fine. When I throw some part of this thing, does it affect the composition? No. So if this was wine is to water was 5:3, now also it would remain 5:3. There cannot be anything else. Now what I'll do in this case is, just listen to me very carefully here. I would assume that at this second stage I have got 8 units. 8 units in all. It means that you can assume that this was 5 units of wine, 3 units of water at the second stage. I can assume any number, so I am assuming at the second stage that these are 8 units here. It means that when I move forward I have to equate them. What is my objective here? Fine, replaced with water for the resultant mixture to have equal quantities of water and wine. मेरे को water and wine को बराबर करना है. Now अगर मेरे को उसमें सिर्फ water मिलाना है, if I have to just add water and this wine remains constant, fine, this is the stage where I am adding water. Just realize the difference between stage 1 from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3. From 1 to 2 I threw some part of the mixture, the complete mixture, the homogeneous mixture. From 2 to 3 I am just adding water. So when I am just adding water, I know that at stage 2 I had 5 units of wine, 3 units of water, so that's 8 units in all. If I have to just add water and I know that I have to I have to get equal wine and water, can I say that it would happen only if I add 2 units here? There is no other way that can be done. So when I add 2 units of water here, this would become 5 and this becomes 10 units. Can you see this? There is no other way it can happen. So it was 5, 3 earlier, 8 units. I add 2 units of water, so it becomes 5 units of wine. It remains intact, plus 5 units of water. Why? Because I added 5 units of water here, right? So it becomes 10 units. Now we come to the earlier part here. Why do we come to the earlier part? Because the quantity that I added here, this 2, is the same quantity that I had thrown out earlier, isn't it? It was removal replacement, very simple. So it means that this second stage 8 number, this is working for me. I took this number because it's very convenient from moving to 8 to 10. Fine, I just add 2 to 3 and arrive at 5. It means that I can assume that this started with 10, isn't it? Now look at the complete flow. What would it be like? Earlier at first stage I had 10 units of the solution in which wine and water were in the ratio 5:3. Mind it, it's the ratio 5:3. Fine, this is ratio 5:3, not quantity. Fine, so this is 10 units, The ratio of wine and water is 5:3. Just look at it like this. You throw 2 parts out of it. From this 10 units, you throw 2 units out. So the remaining is 8 units now. Of this 8 units, the ratio would still remain the same because the composition would not change. So it would still be 5:3. Now since this is 8 units and this is 5, this is 3, now you know this is no decimals here, that this would be 5 units of water and 3 units of 5 units of wine here and 3 units of water. This is okay. Now what I need to do is very simple. I need to just add 2 units of water to it here at this stage and arrive at 5. So it becomes 5, this becomes 5 and this becomes 10. So basically what I am doing is that I am moving backward here. Fine, this is 10, this is 8 and this would be 10 here. This must have been 10, so that arrived like this. So once you understand this, you do not have to do a table like this. What you do simply would be just this. Fine, you realize that this is 5 plus 3, 8. Fine, this is 8 and this is given as 5 and 3, and you have to arrive at these numbers 5 and 5. So what you do is very simple. It's very simple. आपको यही वाला रेशियो चाहिए था ना, यहाँ पर आपको 2 ऐड करना है. Fine, so the answer would be this 2, fine, divided by the sum of these two, 5 and 5, this 5 and 5. So the answer would be 2 by 10 in this case, which would be given to you as 1 by 5. You can do it mentally, orally, very simply, but the important part still remains. I am moving to the next question. Yeah, don't prod me. I am explaining something. I'll give you the next one, and you would not be able to answer it. What is the use? Please don't prod me. I'm coming to the next question. This is 1 by 5 because you are adding water in that same quantity in which you remove this. Now if this is okay with everybody, I'll give you the next one, answer it quickly and then move to a slightly tougher question in this. This is the next one, answer it quickly in 10 seconds probably. Answer this quickly. If you got this one, answer this one quickly. Yes, I think Sonal answer it first. It's 3:16. Yeah, it's 3 by 16, or you can say 18.75. Pompa, you are right. If you want to express it, since I'm dealing with ratios, you can answer in both the ways. So it's 3 by 16, or you can say yes, Kshitij, it's 3:16, 3 by 16, or 18.75. Whatever you want to put it, I'm fine with everything. The important thing that you need to realize here is the moment you see this question, it should straight away strike to you what the answer would be. Fine. Just explaining it once more. Look at this part. Earlier it was 13 units. Fine. It became 16 units by adding 3 units of water here. Fine. So this 3 units of water is added here. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That before this second stage, 3 units of solution must have been thrown out. फाइन, तो ये स्टार्ट कहाँ से हुआ होगा? 16 से ही हुआ होगा जिस पे एंड किया. फाइन, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? अर्लियर इट वाज 16, रेशियो वाज 8:5. देन इट बिकेम 13, दिस 13, रेशियो वाज 8:5. देन आई एडेड 3 यूनिट्स ऑफ वाटर टू इट बिकेम 8:8. फाइन, इक्वल क्वांटिटीज है 8:8 एंड दिस इज 16. नाउ इफ यू हैव टू अराइव एट द आंसर एंड यू नो दिस मेथोडोलॉजी, तो आपको इसके अंदर क्या करना है? आई जस्ट शो यू आप इसमें क्या करोगे. फाइन, ऐड दिस गिव्स यू 8 + 5 13. Subtract it, 8 - 5 3. Fine, add 13 and 3, you get 16. The answer becomes 3 by 16. But I would still advise to you, do not mug it up like this, because the moment I change the question slightly, and again your understanding goes for a toss. Please realize what I did. Please go through it again. Please realize what I did. Please realize what would be the difference if I change the numbers slightly. Fine, I hope this is understood to all. This is exactly the same question that we did last time, just with a slightly different set of values. The answer for this becomes 3:16, and this is not even a 5 or 10 second. This is a 2-second question if you realize this thing, and you get it like this. You get it like this, right? The next one now. This is the next one. Read it carefully. Give me the correct answer. If you want, you take a couple of minutes here. Monica says it's mug up of maths. Monica, I strongly discourage you from mugging up maths. Please understand. Please understand. You can have methodologies for yourself, but please do not mug it up. Really happy, so many of you gave the correct answer. 3 upon 22 is the correct answer. What I am more interested in knowing is, did you get the concept? How much time did you give to this question? It is this simple. This is 7, that's 12. Fine, you realize this value. Now in this case it's not equal. Fine, last time it was equal, in this case it's not equal. So what do you need to realize here is, what you need to realize here quickly is, that is 5 is to 6 is nothing but 10 is to 12. Fine, यही number है ना ये, this 10 is to 12. So it's like this. आपको यहाँ से यहाँ जाना है. Fine, so this 12 I kept constant because I'm just adding wine to it, no water. Fine, that is what is given na, removed and replaced with wine. So now this is exactly the same as the last question. So this was the initial scenario, this was the final scenario. How much is the addition? It goes from 7 to 10, and this is an addition of plus 3. So the answer would be 3 upon 22. Why 3 upon 22? Because this is 7 plus 12, this is 19 units, this is 10 plus 12, this is 22 units. So the final thing is 22 units, this is the intermediate thing 19 units, and I must have started from 22 units. So I started from 22 with a ratio of 7 is to 12, then I arrived at 19 with a ratio of 7 is to 12, then I added wine to it, just this part, fine, and arrived at this 10 is to 12, which is same as 5 is to 6. So basically what I am adding here, from 7 to 10, 7 to 10, it's an addition of 3 units. 3 units over a base of what? This 22. So the answer becomes 3 is to 22. Now you understand what is happening here. If you get the concept, you do not have to mug this up. So this was a slight change in the question, but still very simple for you since you understood this. Now the next one. This is the next one. Do this now. Okay, 12 upon 117, 12 upon 117, which I think is same as 4 upon 39. I think yes. So that's the answer. Yes. How do you do it? Now this is again slightly different. I do not know what method you used, so I'll probably tell you multiple methods here. Look at what is happening. 8, 13, 4, 5. So we'll just like work like previously we did in the previous question. So this is 8, 13. This is 4, 5. Fine. So this is wine and this is water. Fine. You need to realize quickly that you have to keep this thing constant here. Fine. To keep this thing constant, you multiply this upper equation, this one with 5, which is this 5, and you multiply this one with 13. Now I am telling you another way of doing this question. Fine. You do it by alligation or weighted average, you can do it, but you just multiply it quickly like this. Fine. So you multiply it like this. So when you multiply this, the numbers that you arrive at would be this thing. You do not have to write everything, just want to explain to you. So this becomes 8 into 5, 40. This is 65. This is I think 52, and this is 65. Fine. So it comes into this form. Why have I written it into this form? Because if you look at it, this is exactly the same scenario that was there last time. Now this water here is not changing, and if you look here, removal and replacement with wine means that this water should not change. Now the answer would be what? This difference. Fine. What is this difference? 12 over this sum. What is this sum? 117. So the answer becomes 12 upon 117, which is same as 4 upon 39. So you can do this question by, you know, I don't know how many ways, but this just by the manipulation of numbers can also be a way at times if you want to do it like this. So it does not take much time. You just need to realize that you manipulate it with multiplying by 5 and 13, and you arrive at the numbers which give you an answer in this case. Fine. So this is one way of doing it. Another way of doing a question like this can be, I'm just showing it to you. So this is the way that we did the last question. Fine. Now look at this. Okay, before I explain the second way of doing it, because this also comes in handy at times, just concentrate on what I'm saying here. Let's say there is a milk and water solution. Just listen to it carefully. I'm explaining a concept here. So let's say this is 30 liters of milk and 70 liters of water. As assume kar lo. So this gives you a total of 100 liters. So this is the initial scenario. Fine. Let's say you add 100 liters of water to it. Fine. And this remains the same. Fine. So this becomes 200 ml. 200 liter. After that, okay, let's just concentrate on this one first. What is the percentage of milk here? This is 30 upon 100. So can I say, I'm just talking about milk here, milk. So can I say this is 30% milk? Obviously this is 30 out of 100, so it's 30% milk. Now look at what is happening in this second case here. I did not change milk, but I added water to it, and by adding water I doubled this quantity. Fine. So this quantity increased in what proportion? It increased in this proportion, 200 by 100, or can I just say 2 times? Simply can I say 2 times? So when it's becoming twice, the concentration of milk here should become half. Fine. So I do not, all of you know that 30 liters out of 200 liters is 15%. Fine. This is very simple to calculate. But you also need to realize here that without looking at these numbers, I can go to it directly. You need to realize that when I increase this volume from 100 to 200 by adding water, the concentration of milk would be halved. Please understand what I am saying. When the volume of this entire thing is increased by just adding water, a pure component, the concentration of the other one would be reduced to half. So it goes up from 100 to 200, and this reduces from 30 to 15, and it would always happen like this. So for example, just a moment, I'll just clean this up a bit. In place of this 100 liters, let's say I add 200 liters here. Fine. This would again remain the same. This is 30 liters. What would happen is that this total quantity here would be 300 liters. पहले जो था 100 liters वो तो है ही है. This 100 liters plus 200 becomes 300 liters. So 300 liters and 30 out of it is 10%. So what you also can do in this case is that you realize quickly that the volume becomes 3 times. Fine. Volume becomes 3 times because I have added water to it. So the concentration of the other component, which is wine, would become, this I'll write it as C, would become 1/3. You use this concept extensively in removal replacement. It works wonderfully. Please realize that from 30% it would become 10%, which is 1/3. because the volume became 3 times. You use this and you get these questions very very easily. Just this concept. Now let's try doing the same question with this concept. इसमें आप देखो क्या हो रहा है. A mixture contains wine and water in the ratio 8:13. What part of the mixture must be removed and replaced with wine? क्या add हो रहा है? What is being added here? Wine. So the first thing that I do is that I work on the concentration of water. What is the concentration of water? I can write it in percentage, or I can write it in the form of fractions also. So it would be 13 upon 8 plus 13, which is 21. So that's the initial concentration of wine. So I'm just talking about the concentration of wine here, because I'm just talking about the concentration of water here, because wine is being added. Wine is added, so I'm talking about water. Water is added, I'll talk about wine. So it'll always be the reverse. So I'm just talking about water. So water initially is 13 by 21, it's written here. Fine. When you replace it with some wine, when the ratio becomes 4:5. So what you need to do here is you need to calculate this proportion here in which this concentration would go down. ये वही चीज है जो हम कर रहे थे. It's exactly the opposite of this thing. Now what is the final concentration? Just arrive at this. Wine and water are in the ratio of 4:5. Fine. So can I say that the final concentration of water would be 5 units out of every 9 units? 4:5 है ना, so 5 part is water. So this is 5 upon 9. You just do this and you get your answer straight away without manipulating the units. अब बताइए कितना होगा? So this x becomes 5 by 9 into how much is this? 21 by 13. This is 3. This is 7, and this thing gives you 35 by 39. Now this 35 by 39 should be put here in place of x. Fine. I'll just put it to explain that to you. I put it here. Now what it means is that the concentration of water, listen to me carefully, that the concentration, let's call it CW, C water because both are W. Concentration of water here is going down in this proportion, 35 upon 39. Why did it happen? Why did it happen? Fine, it happened because the volume must have increased in this proportion, 39 upon 35. If you just realize this, you can get your answers very simply. इसमें कुछ है ही नहीं. Concentration किस proportion में कम हुआ? It's exactly that same thing. When the volume becomes 3 times, the concentration becomes 1/3. So here the concentration is becoming 35 by 39. It means that the volume must have gone up in this ratio, 39 upon 35. तो कितना पार्ट उसने रिप्लेस किया होगा? 4 by 39 ही रिप्लेस किया होगा ना. इट्स दैट सेम थिंग. 39 पार्ट्स थे. सोचो क्या हो रहा है. व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? 39 पार्ट्स थे. इनिशियली आई हैड 39 पार्ट्स. I threw 4 parts. So I am just left with 35 parts. Then I add a pure component, that is wine here, and because of which it becomes 39. Fine. So if it becomes 39, the water किस तरीके से dilute हुआ? 13 upon 21 into 35 by 39. I'm removing all this. I'm just showing you the calculations straight away now. You do this 31 upon 21. So this is concentration of water that I am playing with into x. Now you come to the second one. This is 5 by 9. You arrive at this x as 35 by 39. So what it tells you is that 4 units out of every 39 units must have been thrown. 4 units out of 39. So the answer becomes 4 upon 39. You can get it directly through this method very quickly if it's a multiple number of replacements. So for one replacement you can do anything. But if I keep replacing it again and again and again, the other method becomes tricky. This comes in very very handy. If you do it like this through using this concept of concentration and volume, it becomes much simpler. I am giving you the next one. Try doing it like this. This is your next question. Do it the way I told you, just told you. सुमन ये सेकंड वाला देखो, समझ में आएगा. थोड़ा सा पेशेंस रखो, इसको समझने की कोशिश करो. यू ऑलरेडी नो वन मेथड ऑफ डूइंग इट. फाइन. I am telling you a second method of doing it. This works very very well in cases of removal and replacement. Okay, I think I already got a few correct answers. Yes, 31.5 is the, is the correct answer. It's all about alcohol in this wine. It's all about, sorry, this is what? This is milk. Yeah, what are you saying? This is milk here. Fine. Look at how we work in this. Just forget the numbers here. We'll just work with ratios. We start with ratios. What is the replacement happening with? Replacement is happening with water in this case. So what would we work on? We'll work on milk in this case, not water. The first rule, if you want to remember it as a methodology, just remember this: replace by water. So we'll work on milk. What is the proportion of milk here? It's 3/7. I hope all of you understand this. This is 3/7. Now some replacement is happening with water. I do not know in what proportion or what is happening. I'll just put an X here. I'll just put an X here. Fine. Now come to the second part. If the resultant mixture contains milk and water in the ratio 1:2, this is 1:2, it means how much milk is this? Can I say that this is 1/3 milk? Obviously this has to be 1/3 milk. Now you know how to do this. It means that X is equal to 1/3 into 3/7, which you can do mentally, and it gives you, sorry, उल्टा लिख दिया मैंने. Alright, so this gives me 7/9. You do it quickly. So what you realize here is that this X here should be replaced by 7/9. Now again come back to that same thing. What is this 7/9? This is the proportion, this is the extent to which this concentration of milk is reducing. This milk is reducing, but because I am replacing it with water. Now you realize what's happening here. I mean, if you can draw an analogy with the last question, you realize what's happening. If the volume becomes 9/7, fine, the concentration becomes 7/9, and it's that same thing we are doing here. It means that you know, fine, that the volume went up from 7 to 9. Fine. So initially it went from 9 to 7. Why? Because the mixture was thrown. So it went from 9 to 7, and then since water was added, it became from 7 to 9. The answer would be, all of you know what it's working like. So if initially I had 9 parts, so if I was working with 9 parts initially, 2 parts were thrown. If you want to remember it like this, 2 parts were removed. ऐसे हुआ होगा ना, सोच के देखो. If I was working with 9 parts, 2 parts were removed. Why? Because now it's 2 part added. When I'm saying that the concentration is becoming 7/9 here, the volume would have become 9/7. Volume 9/7 means addition of how much? 2 units of volume. Fine. तो अगर ये 2 parts यहाँ पर add हो रहे हैं, तो ये 2 parts कभी remove भी हुए होंगे. तो हुआ क्या होगा? 9 parts में 2 parts remove हुए होंगे. अब आपको पता है आपके पास क्या है? Use unitary system. This is 7 liters that is drawn off or removed. So if 2 parts means 7 liters, fine. What does 9 part mean? This is 9 into 7 divided by 2, which gives you 31.5, which is your answer in this case. You get it very quickly. You can do it by multiple methods again, but if you understand this, this will help you a great deal in those series calculations. Fine. ऐसा नहीं आता, you do this operation thrice, 4 times, 5 times, so it becomes very, very quick in all those cases. Erasing this, showing you the calculation again. You start with 3/7, you put an X here, 3/7 because of this, and you write 1/3 here. Fine. So this X here, fine, becomes X is equal to 7/9. This is 7/9. It means that 2 parts must have been removed from every 9 parts. So 2 out of 9. Fine. So this 2 parts corresponds to 7. So this 2 corresponds to 7. So 9 would correspond to what? So that becomes 9 into 7/2, which gives you 31.5. So that's the concept. So that's the basic concept, and you can do it almost without using a pen if you realize how simple these calculations are. The good thing about this method is that even if I give you a very stupid value for the 7 liters, you just need to multiply this at the last stage, which is critical in mixture and solution. You just keep working on your ratios and just multiply at the last stage to facilitate the calculation. Next one now. This is your next question. Answer this. This is quite difficult. You will get it only if you got the last question. This is quite difficult. You will get it only if you get the last question. Suman says last part अभी भी clear नहीं है. सुमन एक बार आप दोबारा से देखिए इसको यार. पहले दोनों lectures देखिए, फिर इसको देखिए, तब आपको clear होगा. Good Himalaya, you got it finally. Yaar, I'm working so hard to make you understand. I can give you equations and all that will be very simple to work with. These are methods through which you can just crack them in a jiffy. Give me the answer to this one. All of you who understood the last one should try this one. If you did not understand the last one, please leave the live stream and go back to the previous questions and watch them first and then come back to this one. This is difficult. Difficult in the sense you will get this only if you get the concept. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to get it. Stuti is asking what is X here. So Stuti, X is the proportion in which the concentration is going down because volume is going up. I took an example of 3 times 1 by 3 times. So it's that 1 by 3 part only which is changing in this place. Please try and understand the method. Yeah, this is something new for you. Please realize that when you understand something new, somebody gets it in 10 minutes, somebody else gets it in 60 minutes. It happens. I'm good at certain subject, you will be good at some other subject. So do not worry, watch it again. I mean, do not expect everything to get into your head straight away. देखा और हो गया. ऐसा कभी होता था क्या? Physics पढ़ते थे HC वर्मा से. So did it ever happen like that? You read it in one go and you get it. I'm just telling you, this is a beautiful way of doing it. If you realize this, if you understand this, this will work wonders for you. Till the time you do not realize this or understand this, keep working with your earlier method. Once you understand this, you will realize the beauty of this method. शुभम, मजा आ गया तो इसका आंसर दो जल्दी से. Yes, Tohin, that's the logic. It was 30-70 earlier. If I add 70 of water or whatever it was, it will become 200 by just keeping one part constant. So when I'm keeping one thing constant, the other is increasing. The concentration of this part would go down. Please understand this. 100 से 200 क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि मैंने एक component ऐड किया. डबल हुआ ना, तो ये वाला 1/2 होना चाहिए. एग्जैक्टली वही हो रहा है. No problem, Stuti, you can watch it from the beginning. In fact, I will advise going back to day 11. Fine, so this is day 30 and start from there. Somebody says 4.2, I am glad you got it very fast. Very good, very good. If you use this method, then I am extremely happy. If you got it using some other method, then it's fine. It's a, there are a number of calculations here. So even if you give it a 3-4 minutes, I do not mind. So I am on the last 3-4 questions for the day, but these are conceptual. I took these questions because I looked at the doubts that you were giving. So I in fact took questions that were tougher than those. All of you get the answer, then I'll explain it in detail. All of you get the answer first. Yes, Manish, you're the second to answer. Even second is not bad. This is a tough question. If you got this one right, then I think you got this concept. Mayur says it's the toughest session. Probably, Mayur, because we are moving forward. Yeah, I mean, I taught you so many things. This is, I think, the 6th or the 7th session of arithmetic. So we have to go a bit forward and do tougher things here. I'll give you a clue because I want everybody to get the answer. This is the 30 liter solution. Just ignore 30 liters in the beginning. I do not work on numbers. I do not work on these volumes. I do not. At least I do not. Fine. How do you start? This is 4:5 in the beginning. What is being added at every stage? Water, water. This is again water. So we are just replacing everything with water. If you are replacing it with water, what is the concentration on which you should work on? If I am replacing with water, you should work on what is that second thing? Not wine but milk, right? So you will work on the concentration of milk. What is the initial concentration of milk? Look at this ratio of 4:5. Can I say that this initial concentration of milk is 4/9? यहाँ तक तो मुझे नहीं लगता किसी को भी कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होगी. Initial concentration of milk when we start doing this is 4/9. कहाँ से आया? From this 4:5. So we start doing this. Forget everything else. Just look at the first step now. Just look at the first step. 7.5 liters is drawn off and replaced by water. देखो क्या हुआ होगा. I'll do it separately. 30 liters solution था. So I had 30 liters solution. इसमें से I throw away 7.5 liters. So मैंने यहाँ से minus 7.5 liters किया and what I am left with is 22.5 liters. I am doing it separately to make you understand. Fine. So this is 7.5 liter mixture gone, total solution gone. So I am left with 22.5 liters. What I am doing now is that I am adding water to it. Fine. How much water? This same quantity of water. Understand this step. This is the only important step here. So I started with 30. Fine. I ended with 30. ये तो दोनों constant है. In the process what happened was that I reduced the amount of mixture or I threw away some mixture by throwing 7.5 liters. I throw away 7.5 liters and I arrive at this 22.5 liters. Now answer this one. This is the important part. In this 22.5 liters, what is the concentration of milk? Can I say that it would remain the same? Change नहीं होगा ना? It's a homogeneous mixture. Mixed है ठीक से. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? When it was 30 liters, it was 4/9 milk. Fine. When I threw away 7.5 liters of mixture, it's only 22.5 liters left. Can I say that since it's a homogeneous mixture, उसमें दोनों बराबर से मिक्सड हैं, अच्छे से मिक्सड हैं, लिक्विड है, मिल्क का जो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है वो अभी भी 4/9 ही रहेगा. यही होने वाला है. चेंज कब होगा? चेंज तब होगा when we add 7.5 liters of water to it. अब ये इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप है यहाँ पर. 7.5 liters of water से क्या हुआ? Look at it like this. 22.5 था मेरे पास, मिक्सचर था. I add 7.5 liters of water. This is 7.5 liters of water. If I add 7.5 liters of water, in what proportion would it increase? Can I say that the proportion in which it increases is 30, which is 22.5 plus 7.5 upon 22.5? इसी proportion में increase हुआ ना? Or in other words, can I say that this is 4/3? This is an important step. All of you need to understand this. When I added 7.5 liters of water to 22.5 liters of the solution, the volume increases in the proportion of 4/3. Is that fine? This has to be fine with everybody. So if this has increased in the proportion of 4:3, in what proportion should the concentration of milk go down? वही जो मैं आपसे बार बार रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, 3/4. ऐसा ही होता है ना? So this volume increases in the proportion 4:3 and the concentration of milk goes down in the proportion of 3:4. So what do I write here? 3/4. Now if you have understood this first step here, there is absolutely nothing left in it. देखो सेकंड स्टेप में क्या होगा? 9 liters withdrawn and replaced by water. तो अब मैं यहाँ पर क्या लिखने वाला हूँ? यहाँ पर 9 को मैंने हटाया और वाटर से रिप्लेस कर दिया. What is 30 minus 9? It's 21. 21 upon 30 is how much? कुशल, it's not long calculation. एक बार देख तो लो. 21 minus 9, 30 minus 9 is 21. Fine. 21 upon 30 कितना होता है? It's 7/10. You just write 7/10 here. Look at the last step. Last step क्या है? 12 liters is drawn off and replaced by water. 30 minus 12 is how much? It's 18. 18 upon 30. How much is that? 3/5. Just this. This is your only calculation. I'm just writing it separately as well. The only thing that you do in this question is write this one very quickly. How do you write this? 4/9 into 3/4. I explained it in detail how 3/4. Likewise, you write 7/10 and then you write 3/5. सब कैंसिल हो जाएगा. This 3 gone with 9, 4 goes and what you get is 7/50. What is this 7/50? This 7/50 is the final concentration of milk. Now you have got the final concentration of milk. Can you not calculate the final volume of milk? Yes, you can do it. What would you do? 7/50 into कितना बचा है अभी? This is 30 liters into 30 and this gives you 4.2 liters. If you have got this concept right, this question would not take you more than half a minute. Please understand these numbers. 4/9 क्या था, 3/4 क्या था, 7/10 क्या था और 3/5 क्या था. I have explained in detail. I am cleaning the screen once and just showing you the numbers here. I start with 4/5. So this number was, when I started, was 4/9. फर्स्ट कैलकुलेशन 7.5 लीटर. 7.5 लीटर का मतलब हुआ ये 3/4 के प्रोपोर्शन में डाइल्यूट होगा. आई जस्ट राइट दिस. 9 लीटर्स. 9 लीटर्स मतलब 21 लीटर बचता है 30 में से. 21 लीटर्स वुड बी लेफ्ट आउट ऑफ 30. 21/30 कितना होता है? 7/10. जस्ट दिस नंबर. फाइन. फाइनल स्टेज 12 लीटर्स. 30 minus 12 is 18. 18/30 कितना होता है? 3/5. जस्ट राइट दीज नंबर्स. This gone with this is gone, and you are left with 7/50. What is this 7/50? This is final concentration of milk. This is milk's concentration because I am working on milk only. Fine. तो quantity कैसे निकलेगी? 7/50 into volume कितना था? 30. So this gives me what? This gives me 4.2. Yes. So that's my final answer. कितनी देर लगेगी? बट आपको ये पता होना चाहिए, ये आपको चीज समझ में आनी चाहिए. Fine. जिसको नहीं समझ में आई है, again you can go back to the previous question, because some people have this tendency that till the time they get the answer they keep using their own method. Even I do it, so I do not have a problem with any such people. The only request is please go back to an easier question of this and understand the methodology. It's simple thing that you learned in your sciences as well. Concentration कम होता है, वॉल्यूम ऊपर जाता है, and vice versa. ऐसे ही चल रहा है ना, तो it's that absolutely same thing. Just these 4 numbers are required for initial one and the 3 changes, and you arrive at these numbers. अब इस केस में आप ये सोचो, अगर ये 30 लीटर्स की जगह, just think about it. If I give it to you as 26.75 liters, if you are just working with equations, your life would get very difficult. But in this case, I just replace this 30 with 26.75 and there will be hardly a difference, because I am just calculating it at one stage. Fine. You getting it? If you just calculate it one stage and just deal with ratios, it's always easier. It's now completely up to you. If there is a question in which you think you can make do by equations, do it. But I use this and this works for me absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. I'll again request all of you who did not get the method to work on it again. Please work on it again. I am giving you an even tougher question. I'll not say tougher, even trickier question on this. And this now comes on your screen. This is the next one. Get it right. This is a chocolate question probably. I do not know how you do it. You get it right, in 30 seconds you get a chocolate from me. Stuti, I'm really happy you got this without watching the previous lectures. If you can get this, I'm sure if you go back to the previous lectures, start from day 11, in fact I'll say start from day 1, you would enjoy it a lot. There are so many such things that we have discussed. If you can get this one here at this stage, it's a very good sign. आशुतोष, द होल अरिथमेटिक इज द सेम. सेलिंग प्राइस, कॉस्ट प्राइस, कुछ डिफरेंस नहीं है मेरे लिए, सब कुछ एक है. आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग इन अ मैनर इन विच इट्स गिवन टू यू. पहले ये कराएंगे, फिर वो कराएंगे, फिर वो कराएंगे. इट्स द सेम थिंग. आई हैव बीन यूजिंग द सेम कॉन्सेप्ट्स अगेन एंड अगेन. टीएसडी में भी आई यूज द सेम कॉन्सेप्ट्स. नथिंग चेंजेस. नाउ गिव मी द आंसर टू दिस वन. आई एम कीपिंग माई सेल्फ शट फॉर द नेक्स्ट 2 minutes नाउ. आंसर दिस. I hope all of you have spent enough time on it. Let's do this now. Let me just check the numbers quickly. So you understand what this 18 here is. We start with this 18 liter solution that has milk and water in the ratio 3:4. This is continuous replacement with water. So what would we work on? First things first, what would we work on? We would work on milk. Fine, this is 3:4 given. So milk concentration is 3/7. That's the first thing that's given to you. And let's write it like this, then we'll move forward. Now look at what I have done here. 3 liters is drawn off, so I have written this 15 here, so that there is absolutely no confusion to you while understanding. So after 3 is drawn, it's reduced to 15. After that, addition of 5 liters is shown here. After that, if you look at it, then 4 liters drawn, then 5 liters added, 7 liters drawn, 2 liters added. So I have written all this so that there is absolutely no confusion while explaining this. Now look at this trend. What is going to happen here? When you draw this 3 liters of solution out, this is solution only. Can I say that when this is 15 liters and not 18, my concentration or my this thing would remain as 3/7? It has to, na? Why would it why would it be 3/7? Because I am removing a part of a homogeneous mixture. It's mixed, fine. So when it's 15, it will remain the same. So this first step here would not change my concentration of milk. It will remain 3/7 or 3:4, milk is to water, whatever way you put it. Now comes the important step, this step, wherein this increases from 15 to 20. Look at it very properly, very clearly. This is important. When it increases from 15 to 20, this is an addition of 5 units of pure water. Fine. So in what proportion is it increasing? 20/15. 20/15 means 4/3. It means that the concentration of milk would come down. By how much? If it's increasing in the proportion 4/3, the volume, because we have added water, the concentration would come down in the proportion 3/4. Please listen to each word very carefully. So this is the second step, 3/7 into 3/4. Now I'll not keep writing this here, I'll just do it in one go. Move forward, you reduce this, again you throw mixture out. If you throw mixture out, would the concentration change here at this step? No, you are throwing out the mixture. When would it change now? When it increases from 16 to 21, this step, by addition of water again. Now what is happening? It's increasing in the proportion of 21/16. 16 से 21 हो गया, from 16 to 21. So the concentration should go down from 21 to 16. इसी proportion में होगा ना, it will be exactly the reverse. So what would I write here? 16/21. Go to the next step. This is again 7 removed here. When this is again 7 removed here, from 21 it becomes 14. Would there be a change in concentration? Absolutely not, because again it's a homogeneous mixture that's thrown out. Look at the last step now. Now it's 14 liters and you add 2 liters to it. So from 14 it becomes 16 because this 2 liters of water is added. So 14 to 16. So in what proportion is it increasing? 8/7. 16/14 is same as 8/7. 8/7 में increase हुआ तो वो decrease किस proportion में होगा उसका concentration? 7/8. And this is your calculation. This is it. You do not do all this. Fine. This is just to explain, just to ensure that you get the concept right, and you just solve this. Do it. How much is this now? This is, let's solve this. 7 and 7 is cancelled here. This is how much? 8 into 2. This is 3 into 7, and this is 2 into 2. Fine. Have I done something wrong? I do not think so. So it becomes 3/14. What is this 3/14? The final thing that we get. This 3/14 is the final concentration of milk. 3/14 is the final concentration of milk. Fine. Some of you might have got the wrong answer because they multiplied this 3/14 with a wrong number. Fine. This 3/14 is to be multiplied with what? The final volume. What is the final volume? It's 16 liters. It's written here. So 3/14 into 16. How much does it give you? This is again what? This is again 8/7, which gives you 24/7, which is 3.43. So that's your final answer, 3.43 liters. If you get this flow, a question like this would never bother you. It would never bother you. The important part is getting this flow, and just doing this thing very clearly, very nicely, neatly. It is much better than making the equations and doing it likewise. If you can arrive at this 3/14, it's job done for you. You should know what this 3/7 is, what is 3/4, what is 16/21, what is 7/8. You get these numbers, they would generally, not generally, they would always all the time cancel amongst themselves. you arrive at the final number. Now I can, in place of this 18 or 16 liters, even if I give you 14.374 liters, it would not make your life difficult. The reason is simple, fine, because you are just calculating at the last stage. So the answer becomes 3.43, and this is it. This is the concept that I wanted to discuss here. Absolutely nothing more to explain here. This is a simple one. You just need to realize volume goes up, concentration goes down. This is it. Please watch it again. Whoever I did not, who could not get the answer correct. Saurabh, yes, you answered it, and I think many of you answered it correctly. I'm extremely happy. For those of you who could not get it, this is a difficult question, not difficult, tricky question. Please watch it again. It's an important concept. I'm giving you the next one now. Just 2 questions left for the day. That's your next one. It's a question that was posted by somebody on the group. I probably changed some language or something, but it's that same question. Now after what we have done, is it going to give you any problems? Just look at this one. After what we have done, इसमें कुछ भी problem होगा क्या? सोच के देखो एक बार. Is it not that same thing? Kusum, if you got the right answer for this one, you have got this concept. This is a tricky question. Madhu, कोई बात नहीं, आंसर ठीक नहीं आया, it's okay. The important part is to get this concept. We are not competing here. We are just learning here. Somebody who does not get it in one go, I still do not have a problem. Just keep an open mind and try and understand it. Give this answer now. Yes, Adam says 1.8. Yes, this is 1.8 only. But how do you get it quickly? And in this one, I have given you options as well, because I do not want you to deal with any stupid numbers. Question says the tricks explained here are the best to crack PO. Yes, question, but they would be useful only if you practice. I have been repeating this time and again. This is just 10% of your preparation. This is just giving you the right direction. 90% has to come from you. So if you are spending 2 hours here, devote 20 hours on your own. Then only it will work. Just watching this would not help. You will probably go back happy. आ गया समझ में? उससे कुछ नहीं होगा. Practice this. Okay, Satyam goes a step forward and says, sir, how about milk and water added and taken out alternately? Satyam, most of the people here have problem with me doing this. If I do that, there'll be a step forward. I'll be glad if you can give me a question. We'll do it together. Post it on the FB group. I'll be game for this. This is again going a step forward from this. If you get this, alternate addition of milk and water would be a wonderful way. Yes, you got it right. That's the way forward. Okay, all of you are saying 1.8. Wonderful, you got this. Nothing much to explain for me here. Fine. Just realize what is happening here. देखो, we can put it in percentages, we can put it in ratios, we can put it in whatever way we want. What is happening here? Since I am replacing with water, fine. What am I starting with? I am starting with milk. So milk is 15%. Fine. I am using the same concept. Just what I am doing is I am not putting it in fractions here. Why waste time? What is happening is that there is an operation that is being done twice. So this is doing it once and doing it a second time. Whenever it's an operation like this, what you do is whatever factor you are taking, just take it twice. ऐसे ही होगा ना? Whatever you are doing it twice. So x into x, and this gives you what? This gives you 10%. This is that same thing. It's exactly that same thing. Since what is happening is that the second time it's exactly the same operation. So in whatever proportion this concentration is going down, we are calling it x. This x here, it's happening twice. So 15% से x multiply होके कुछ कम गया, and then you again multiply it with x, and it then again goes down, and it becomes 10%. Why I am doing this is because I want to reduce calculations. Now you know what x square is. X square is 10 by 15 or 2 by 3. Fine. Or you know that it's 0.67. Fine. You know this. Now since you know this is 0.67, can you tell me mentally what would be an approximate value of x? Yes, you can. अगर x 0.8 होता, fine, तो x square कितना होता? 8 into 8, 64. Just look at it like this for somebody who does not understand and how we do this. Had x been 0.8 or let's say x square, sorry, okay, x ले लेते हैं. X square would be 0.64. Can I say this? All of you know this basic rule, basic calculation. X is 0.8, x square is 0.64. Now in this case, x square is 0.67. Can I say that x would be slightly more than 0.8? Something like 0.81, 0.82, something like this? I think the value is around 0.82. So this is around 0.82. Now what you know is that this x here is 0.82. 0.82 का मतलब क्या है? This is 82 by 100. 82 by 100 का मतलब क्या है? Out of 100, 18 parts are removed. Fine. इस 82 by 100 0.82 का क्या मतलब है? That if you have got 100 parts in the beginning, 18 parts are removed and you are left with just 18 parts are removed and you are left with just 82 parts. So if from 100, 82 parts are removed, from 10, how many parts should be removed? Just do it like this. Sorry, I am doing it the reverse here. Sorry, I am tired. This is left. 100 में से 82 रहता था. What is it? This is if there were 100 parts and 18 parts are removed. Fine. Had it been 10, how many parts would be removed? Just 1.8. And that's your answer. That's D. Please understand, the moment you get this 0.82, it should be very clear to you that 18% should be removed. Now you can think of it in whatever way. 0.82 means 18% removed. Since we are talking about 10 liters, the answer becomes 1.8. Had we been talking about 100 liters, the answer would become 18 liters. Very simple. So this is it. You do it as quickly. I mean, इससे ज़्यादा इसमें कुछ भी नहीं करना था. The only thing I am erasing this. The only thing that you need to realize is कि आपको 2/3 का रूट निकालना है. 2/3 का रूट का मतलब क्या है? It's root of 0.67. You realize that it's close to 0.82 mentally, and 0.82 का मतलब है answer becomes 1.8. If you realize this quickly, you do it very very quickly. I'm not exaggerating. You do it in 15 seconds, but the concept should be clear to you. This concentration and volume concept. Okay, last question for the day now. This is your last one. Slightly difficult. Give me the answer. Okay, Priyesh wants to understand a concept. Priyesh, I'll repeat it. I do not understand what you are saying. Just remember this. Listen to me very carefully. There are two things, x and y. When you change the concentration of x by adding just y, that's removal and replacement, it decreases in that same proportion in which the volume goes up. For example, I'm just repeating mentally, just think, just listen and think. Something is doubled. Fine, let's say there is just milk and water and I add water and it becomes double. It means that the concentration of milk would become half. If I increase it in the proportion 5/4, the concentration of milk would become 4/5, and this is what is happening in all these questions, nothing else. Chetana, our way is effective, but our way is slightly painful when you start. Fine, so I would request you to bear with it. Fine, so it's pain in the beginning and then it's a feeling of euphoria once you realize how effective the methods are. I'm not guaranteeing that you'll find it easy, but once you get it, it'll be fun. Look, this one is different. Please do not think about it in the way that I have been doing all these questions. I keep repeating, all the questions that I do are different. Fine. So I go in a pattern to make you understand. But when you get it in an exam, they are all different. So think at it from a different angle. Do not try to use my method anywhere. There is no my method. I just give you ways to think, to apply logic. Apply some logic here and give me the correct answer. I am giving you another couple of minutes, then I'll explain this. नमिता सेज आज की क्लास इज रोलर कोस्टर. यस, व्हाट्स लाइफ विदाउट अ लिटिल रोलर कोस्टर. फ्लैट होगा तो मज़ा कैसे आएगा? You get some, you do not get some, then you work on those that you do not get, and then you get them, and then you feel very happy. Okay, Ambedkar Kumar is saying sir very lengthy. मैं आपको कभी lengthy questions देखता हूँ क्या? याद करिए. Have I ever made you slog? Have I ever made you do donkey work in any quant question? Never. So there has to be something else to it. Think about it. Think about it. Preeti, we have a Facebook group on which you can ask doubts. I do not answer all the questions. Students do. I just keep intervening. Fine. So you can ask your questions there. There are hundreds of very, very smart students answering questions over there. You will get all your doubts resolved. I'm 100% sure. ग्रुप का नाम कुछ नहीं होता है. विल जस्ट पेस्ट अ लिंक हियर. Saurabh, Adam, this is actually a difficult question, but you will love the solution. I'm telling you, you will just simply love the solution. Let's do one thing. I'm not explaining this today since I have not got even a single correct answer. One correct answer and I'll explain. And if I do not get any correct answer, then I'll not explain. We'll do it at the starting of the first session, starting of the next session. It becomes your homework then. Give it one more minute. If you do not get it, then I'll wind up the session. I want you to think on this. दिलखुश से शुरू कहाँ से करें समझ नहीं आ रहा. कहीं से भी शुरू करिए, आंसर दीजिए. जितेंद्र, यू आर अ वेरी स्मार्ट वन. आप ऐसे हाथ खड़े मत करो. गिव मी द करेक्ट आंसर. You have given me correct answer for many questions. Amrita is feeling sleepy, I think. Yes, Nitra, it's difficult. It's difficult. I'm telling you, it's more like a puzzle. When you ask me where do I get these questions from, I do not get these questions from anywhere. This is just so many years of teaching, and most of these are made by me because I want to explain the concept to you. So these are not exam questions. They might appear in an exam, I do not know, but this is not an exam question. Okay, I got the correct answer. Adam says 4 liters. Amazing, Adam, you got it right. You got it right. Abhilash, think about it. If somebody can get it, you can also get it. I'm giving you one more minute. If you, I do not know if I explain this today or not. Okay, I'm giving you a clue. Since I got a correct answer, I want you to, understand this. The most important part in this question, this ratio would not be used. This ratio would not be used at all. Now, can you think? Hint दे रहा हूँ मैं आपको. This ratio here would not be used. 7193, this is useless ratios. I never give you these stupid numbers. You should have guessed. I never give you these stupid numbers to work with. I never make you do any donkey work. This is a clue. Now again, give it 2 minutes and tell me. These ratios are not important. They are not required to arrive at the answer. Now can you give me the answer? And again, now since you know that 4 is the answer, fine, you need to realize that 4 is too beautiful a number, too simple, straight a number to be worked out using these complicated ratios. Fine, so it means that the only numbers that you need to work on would be 6 liters and 12 liters. 6 और 12 से 4 आना है. फाइन, कैसे तो आएगा ना, सोचो इस बारे में. Yes, Adam, I am not telling you your telling others your real name. Even the stalwart is unhappy today. Cheer up, guys. It's a good puzzle. Yeah, you will enjoy it. I give you the biggest hint. This ratio is not important here. Now think about it. Yes, Manish says 4 liters. 4 liters. Jayant says 4 liter. I'm getting the answers. All of you can get it. 1 more minute, and then you can. अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन मार्क है. ओके, क्वेश्चन मार्क मीन्स समझ नहीं आया. आ जाएगा समझ में मनीष, रुक जाओ. Amrita says she got 4. Wonderful. If they can get it, then so can you. Amrita is almost dancing by getting 4. But guys, try it. I want to get it on your own. You will, that fun is something else when you get an answer on your own. 1 more minute, then I'll probably explain this. Okay, with my clues, so many people are saying 4 liters. Yes, good. That clue is important. Now, there is nothing to solve here. In fact, nothing to solve here. Look at what is happening. This is 6 liters. This is the first one. This is 12 liters, the second one. In the first one, I am not bothered with this ratio. I am not bothered. I'll tell you why. In the second one, again, this is 12 liters. What I have to do is that I have to pick x liters from each. So, if I pick x liters from this first one, this is x, then I will be left with 6 minus x. I think this is fine with everybody. Look at the second one. I pick x. What would I be left with? 12 minus x. मैंने पहले से x निकाला, 6 minus x बचा, दूसरे से x निकाला, 12 minus x बचा. अब अगर मेरे को दोनों में बराबर प्रोपोर्शन चाहिए, मिल्क और वाटर का बराबर रेशो चाहिए, नॉट मिल्क एंड वाटर का, बल्कि मेरे को दोनों में यस मिल्क एंड वाटर का बराबर प्रोपोर्शन चाहिए, तो मेरे को क्या करना होगा? इट वुड हैपन ओनली इफ जस्ट लुक एट दिस, जस्ट लुक एट दिस पार्ट. x, try and understand this equation. I generally do not use equations, but this is a beautiful puzzle, so I thought I'll give it to you. This part, look at what is happening. What is this x here? Fine, so x is this wala x, this x. I pick this x here, fine. This is mixed with this part. ऐसे ही हो रहा है ना? This x would be mixed with this second part, 12 minus x here. So this ratio x upon 12 minus x has to be same as 6 minus x upon x. तभी ये बराबर हो सकता है, कोई और तरीका ही नहीं हो सकता ना. क्यों ऐसा होगा? This upon this. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? This वाला जो भी प्रोपोर्शन था, whatever the proportion of this 6 liters is, let's say इसके कॉन्सेंट्रेशन को हम x बोल लेते हैं, इसकी कॉन्सेंट्रेशन को हम y बोल लेते हैं. जब हमें दोनों बराबर चाहिए, दोनों में मिल्क वाटर बराबर चाहिए, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि दोनों में x upon y बराबर आना चाहिए ना, तभी हो पाएगा. और तो कोई तरीका ही नहीं है. उसके लिए क्या है? x upon 12 minus x, this part has to be same as, again इसका पार्ट उठाया मैंने, what is this part? 6 minus x is equal to 6 minus x upon इसका second part. You solve this equation. This is a nothing equation. इसमें कुछ है ही नहीं, ये quadratic भी नहीं है, linear equation है, and this gives you the value of x as 4. This is the only thing that you do here and absolutely nothing else. Please realize that when we divide this part, when we divide it into this thing, fine, like this, x upon 12 minus x, इसका मतलब इसका first part upon the second part of this thing has to be equal to 6 minus x upon x. इसका second part upon इसका first part. There is no other way that you can make it equal. If you have to make it equal like this, you do not need these ratios. You do not need these ratios for the simple reason that I did not ask you to calculate the final ratio. Had I asked you to calculate the final ratio, this would have been required. You would need it. But in this case, since that is not required, you just need to make the proportions same. You make the proportions same, you get the answer as 4 in absolutely no time. ये equation भी quadratic नहीं है. This is a very very simple linear equation. There is nothing else. Please, this is food for thought for you. All of you, please, for those of you understood who got the answer, wonderful. For those of you who did not get the answer, please watch it again. Try and understand why I made this. X upon 12 minus x upon 6 is equal to 6 minus x upon x. And also think on why I am not using these ratios. This question comes in multiple forms. In fact, I got a clue of framing a question like this from one of the questions that students had posted, to which you did not reply. Nobody replied to that question. The poor guy asked the question which was very similar to this one. I think it was about an alloy or something. I got a clue for this one from that question only, and I framed this one for you. Fine. So this is it. Nothing else for today. You are done with ratio and proportions. There is just one thing left. I'll just come back on screen. Let me move forward. Alright, so there is just one thing left. I have not given you a question of direct relation. So we did inverse relation, direct proportions, and inverse proportions we already know. I just did not give you a question on, I think somebody had posted a question. I did not do it. I could not get time to do it. Fine. So that's the only thing that is left. I'll give you a question, and we are done with this topic. Now you are equipped to handle any question, absolutely any question of mixed solution, ratios and anything else. The only thing left in arithmetic now is time, speed, distance, and I think yes, time, speed, distance I think is the only thing left. Then probability and mensuration. That's the two things left. Thursday Samir would be taking mensuration, fine, and we'll finish up time, speed, distance also very quickly. So I do not think your syllabus would now take more than 8 to 10 days to complete. Keep practicing. If there is any doubt on this, now you can put it on that thread and we'll discuss it. So this is it. If you do not get anything, please revise it again. And we'll meet you again tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the evening. The schedule is uploaded, you can all check that. So this is it. Put it on the Facebook group. If there is a problem, we'll take it up from there. I thank you all for your patience. Wish you a very good learning phase. Happy learning. Thank you so much.